What's up guys, it's Sam the Raid Man. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most hot button issues in all of Raid, which is trash champions that need to be buffed. Hellhated just put a video out. Plarium announced that they're going to be buffing 2 champions in the next patch. They're going to be buffing Skull-Lord Varghal. It's a weird buff, but it's not too bad. And then they're buffing Tremarria from the Dark Elves, who I do not have. She's Void Legendary. She's already pretty good. She should be better, so I think that's solid. My issue with those buffs is I don't think many people were clamoring. Tremarria is terrible. I have her and she sucks. Maybe a few people are because she's Void Legendary, but I don't think she's going to be after that. She's going to be like, Tremarria is amazing. I'm so glad. Like, it's not a significant buff enough for me for that to be worth it. But there are some champions that desperately need buffs. So I'm going to go over my top 10 and a half today. So I'm going to go over my number 1, and it's not in particular order. It's kind of as it came to mind as I was scrolling through the index and scrolling through some tier lists. But this guy, oh, it frustrates me. He's so cool looking and so terrible. And I feel like you could probably say that about a few people, but I'm talking about Granjar. One of my favorite looking champs. The helm is sweet with the fire coming out, the glowing eyes, the helmet, the lava on the arms, and the coolest sword in the game in my mind. It's so cool. And he's just bad, man. It's got an HP burn, removes block debuffs and buffs from a single champion, and increases HP burn. What does he do? And this is a Doom Tower champion. So by the time you get him, it's like you have 30, 20 HP burn champions. Like, he's not, just so frustrating because he's so cool. And I'm gonna say that about a lot of your champions today. Now this one is not cool, but pretty consistently at the bottom of almost everyone's list. Elagaius, I got with a fusion, and I've unfortunately pulled him again. Let's see how many Elagaiuses I have. I haven't been that unlucky, but I think I have pulled him more than once. Yeah, twice. So you can see I've never taken him to 6 stars. He is just horrendous. I mean, just a terrible, terrible champion. And he's been in the game for so long, multiple years now. He was a Halloween champion. He's got some super niche uses on like Doom Tower or Faction Wars. When you're facing multiple of the same champion, you can lock out some of their block buffs and block out some of their skills. It's just weird. He's not good, and he needs to be good. And this is a guy who used to be solid, and I really, really, really want him to be buffed because he's one of 2 champions that I have +4. The first one is Ninja, who's awesome. Oh, never mind. 3 champions. I have Gentoro as well. So they're great. And then I have Norog. He was my first +4 champion. That's why I was thinking about him. The Big Pig, you see he's built. I've tried to make him work. I think I currently use him in Doom Tower against the Scarab King. That's why he's got a Blood Shield ring on. He's just not good. I mean, he's got a cool passive, kind of like Duchess. He can't be controlled or hard to control. Can't be stunned, froze, or sleep. It decreases taken by all allies if they're under 1 or more buffs by 15%. So it's kind of like a permanent 15% strengthen for your team, which is cool. Decreases the damage taken by all allies that are under no buffs by 25%. So if your buffs fall off or you just don't have buffs in your team, 25% less damage is cool. If there was other synergy in his kit, great. Like if he was an ally protector, makes sense. AoE block buffs, 3 turn cooldowns. It's solid. You don't need books to place it. So if you get him early, he can be a Hydra champion, but he's defense based and doesn't hit very hard. Block active skills in the A1 is just useless. I guess he'll be built with accuracy, so do it, but I built him out full damage. I mean, he did terrible. He did less damage than my Wukong, who wasn't crit captain, wasn't built for damage. Like, he's just not good. And I want him to be good. He's cool. He's an OG champion. I think he's what's it called? I think he's been in the game as long as the game's been out, and Norog is just bad. Super quick announcement, got some pretty exciting news from Plarium. I now have my own promo code. So if you want to start a second account, or if you want to start your first account, if you've never played Raid before, you can use this link code to download the game. I showed this in one of my videos, but basically if you use this code, it will give you a free Karato Fox Hunter and 3 epics, Fane, Romero, and Vergis. And here it is, but I'll go ahead and put this in the description of my video. If you use this, you would get, like I talked about, the legendary champion from the Shadowkin faction, Karato Fox Hunter, who's a good damage dealer and pretty good control. You will also get Fane from the Skinwalker. She's a good damage dealing epic, particularly good for clan boss. You will get Romero from the Sacred Order, who is a partner champion, and he's pretty solid. And then lastly, you will get Vergis, who is from the High Elves, and he is a really good tank and kind of like defender type champion. Pretty cool looking too. So a great kickstart if you want to start a new account, or like I said, if you just want to start a second account. You can also pair this code with the Monkey King code or the Superpowers code and get one of those great champions as well. Now we're going to go back in the category of cool champions that just aren't very good. Harvest Jack, I just pulled my second or third, one of the coolest champions in the game. I mean, just the coolest looking champions in the game, like the pumpkin, the helmet, the scythe. It's all awesome. There's some synergy in his kit with True Fears and stuff. he's just not good. He's HP based. He doesn't do a lot of damage. He's going to get polymorph left and right. Like, we got to make some kind of immunity in him, a damage increase. Now, obviously, there's lots of ways you can fix things. And, you know, I know in some videos people say, oh, buff this guy. This is what you need to do. Sure. Plarium doesn't listen to that, though. They're going to buff it. If they're going to buff him, they'll buff him however they want to. They're not listening to our ideas. I just want him to be buffed. I want him to be good. He's so cool that I want to use him. I am going to stay here in the same faction. Saito. This was the first ever champion modeled after a real person in the real world. And man, you did that guy dirty. He looks so cool. Another freaking sweet looking champion. He's just bad, dude. He's a damage dealer. An out and out damage dealer, ignoring defense. And he's bad. He ignores up to 30% defense. That's not enough. And then only if he's targeting one champion. So good for a clan boss, but he's not doing enough damage to bring him in clan boss. KO does more damage than Saito does. Frozen Banshee does more damage than Saito does. So where are you using him that you're only attacking one target? Because you stop ignoring defense when you switch to another target. So this needs to either not change or it needs to go up to like 75% or something crazy to make this worthwhile. Boost his multipliers, boost his base attack. He's just not good. And that's frustrating. That's sad. Next up, we're going to go to the dwarf faction again. There's a few stinkers in here. Any guesses who the next one is? Samara Gemcursed. Another cool looking champion. Sweet sword. Very Lord of the Rings-esque going on here. Samara Gemcursed. Honestly, he has a cool kit. He seemed like he was going to be the next version of Mountain King, and he doesn't hit. And the only thing he can do is be annoying in Doom Tower, and he can kind of solo. Actually, he does it pretty well. He can solo Bommel. So you pull him, he's one of like 5 champions that can solo Bommel, and he's not the best at it. And that's tough. You know, that's not what you want to get when you pull, because he's not even a faction wars champion. Like a lot of times you pull like, all right, if I pull, let me think of someone who's just mid. Nari. If I pull Nari, I'm like, well, at least he's good in faction wars, right? Like he can help you carry you there. Let's pull a random person. Marinix. She's not great, but she can do some Minotaur. She can do some campaign farming. She can help you in faction wars. Like she's way better than Samar. Samar's just Bommel. There's nowhere else you're using him. Maybe Centranos, but that's like a stretch. Next up is not necessarily a bottom 10 champion, but man, he needs a buff, dude. Mountain King is so cool and used to be awesome. Highest base HP in the game, if you didn't know. 31,000. For what? HP and attack-based champion? Like, yes, it scales mostly on HP, but it also scales on attack, so you have to build him with attack. Increases his attack when he kills somebody, but not his HP. If that increases HP by 50%, you could build something pretty cool, huh? Or if maybe you get an extra turn on your A1 when you do this. Maybe this also ignores defense and stone skin if you do this. Simple fixes. He should be cool. He was close to the top. Put him back. You've just nerfed him to the ground by the way the game has gone. And it's not fair to Mountain King, who was so cool. 3 more left. Number 8. I have yet another stinker. Yet another Doom Tower champion. Chromax. Again, you see the theme here? Super cool. I love these little ring bracelet things. It reminds me of Shang-Chi, if you guys watch that. Legend of 10 Rings. Or the Legend of 10 Bracelets, as it is in that movie. Cool looking. Decreased stack on the A1. Block buffs on a single target. AoE provoke for 1 turn and decrease accuracy on a 4-turn cooldown. When he attacks, he can get place hex, but only for 1 turn. Only when they attack him. External battles. Like, honestly, this is a pretty cool epic, right? Like, if you get this guy as an epic, you're like, yeah, you know, AoE provoke and single target block buffs, maybe like Chimera or something. Hex, you know, every now and then could help. This is a legendary that you get after like a year and a half playing the game when you're fighting so much Doom Tower, and no one's ever going to use him unless you make them use him in Centranos. Like, that's a cop-out. People are like, oh, use him there. He was clutch in Centranos. That's because they pigeonholed it where that's the only champion that can help you through that. He's a bad champion. He frustrates me more than most. I'm like, you just take him out of the game. Like, there's no reason to add him in the game. He's just wasting a slot in my inventory. This one, I think, is one of the most like gut punches to us as a player base, fan base, community. Razin, guys, again, not awful, but really has fallen from glory. One of the only permanent fusions, the only permanent legendary fusion in the game. I guess if you don't count the legendaries that go into Mikage, but used to be awesome. Decrease defense and weaken on a 3-turn cooldown. He's defense based, was easier to keep alive. A1's fine, triple hitter. This one's a cool ability, right? AoE, decrease turn meter by 100% on a 7 books to 6-turn cooldown. That's wild. That's wild. That means I could run him, use his ability, use Yumiko to reset him. I still got 3 more turns. Of Razin doing what? Like, after a reset, like 7 turns, 6 turns, that's ridiculous. And his base speed is 91, who most rares are faster at 99. This guy, well, that's a bad example. These uncommons, 99 on hard scale. Faster. Every rare, basically, and almost all uncommons are faster than Razin. Why? You need to put Lazarius as a 91, right? Because his kit is bonkers. You don't need to make him tied for the fastest champion in the game. But then you're going to make the free one that we all get, not the Lazarius that everyone has to pay oodles and oodles of money for. You make this guy 24 speeds slower than him. I mean, it's a slap in the face. I honestly think like this is legitimately disrespectful to us that this guy's a 91 with this outdated of a kit and they're updating Void Legendaries and nerfing Trunda and Hydra, but they won't fix Rosin. I just think that I gotta stop before I get too heated. That's just so frustrating to me. Spot number 10 goes to two people. And it's because they're partners. I'm talking about Hansel and I'm talking about Gretel. I got both of them. I won Hansel and I worked really hard to get the 5-star souls for them. And man, they were just underwhelming. Like, Hansel, 5-star soul, he's obviously stripped now. And then Gretel, 5-star soul, also stripped. I put them both in a Hydra team. They have this really cool synergy with A1s where they're doing AoEs. I put them with like 2 ally attackers and stuff. Both of them combined were doing less than Cupidus was by himself. Like they're just not hitting hard. They have some cool like irresistible stuff in when they're together. It's like maybe you can make some use of them in the arena. I don't know. I just think that's so disappointing. Like neither of them are great damage dealers. Supremo Hain hits harder. Most of the recent fusions hit harder, and I just was disappointed with that. I thought they were really cool. It's like a new public domain thing that they brought in. Super fun idea for Hansel and Gretel. Kits are designed, I think, pretty well. They just don't do enough damage. 100 base speed's not super fast. Let's see if Hansel's any faster. Like, because they basically have to be damage dealers. That's basically how they're built. They've got the extra crit damage in there, and they're all attack based, and they need to do damage, and they just don't hit hard enough for me to do that. I think if you give them like a 20% damage boost on the A1, and then definitely damage this. Also, the A1 hit harder than all of these. This ignores defense, and the A1 hit harder. This needs to be buffed 100%. Same thing with Gretel. The A3 needs to be buffed. It does not hit harder. I turned off everything else. I was just using A1 because it can play decreased defense. She can play decreased defense. He can play weaken. And it's like, again, cool idea. I was really excited. I was like, this is gonna be awesome. Nope. Them together is much worse than Cupidus and Venus together for sure. Not even close. Again, Cupidus outstripped them both, much less without Venus. So yeah, those are my 10 and a half, 11. Let me know in the comments who you guys think. There's a ton. I mean, there's so many bad champions. I'm sure I can scroll down not very far and find some. Basatha's not very good. You know, just random champions. I'm sure I could find in my vault that need to be buffed. Anyways, gonna keep making this daily content. Hope you guys are enjoying it. If you are, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. I'll see y'all on the next one.